President Trump has ordered the federal government to cut ties with tech startup Anthropic. The president wrote in part on Truth Social, quote, "I am directing every federal agency in the United States government to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology. We don't need it, we don't want it, and will not do business with them again." Anthropic was awarded a $200 million contract last year to let the military use its Claude AI model. But the company wanted the Pentagon to implement certain safeguards. The military instead demanded unrestricted access to Claude. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also says he will designate Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security, saying any contractor that does business with the U.S. military will not be allowed to conduct commercial activity with Anthropic. Brendan Bordelon joins us now. He's an AI and tech influence reporter for Politico. Thanks so much for being with us. So this has been a really fascinating dynamic to watch, to say the least. Taking a step back, though, what concerns did Anthropic initially raise about how the Pentagon would use its AI model?
Sure. So this all has its start in the January raid by the U.S. military to capture former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. During that raid, Anthropic's AI model Claude was actually used by the U.S. military. No one's exactly sure why or how, but that got back to the company, who asked its corporate partner Palantir about the use of that model. That ask, in turn, got back to the Pentagon and rankled some folks at the Department of Defense. That culminated in a Tuesday meeting between Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That's where Hegseth gave Amodei an ultimatum: allow our warfighters to use your model for all lawful uses, or we will blacklist you and potentially force you to use to allow us to use your model as we see fit. Obviously, negotiations broke down on Thursday, and the Anthropic CEO said that they would reject those demands. Their two red lines are no use of their model to empower autonomous weapons, and no use of their model to surveil American citizens. Obviously, things have broken down here. It's an incredibly fast-moving and fluid situation, but it does look like Anthropic is in serious hot water with the U.S. government.
So then, Brendan, what message does this send to other tech companies that are considering working, perhaps, with the federal government?
Yeah, that's a real concern across K Street and on Capitol Hill right now. There was actually a letter sent today by some leaders in the Senate on defense issues, who said, it was a private letter to Hegseth and Dario Amodei, saying, hey, listen, let's take an off-ramp here. Everybody calm down. This is not good for Silicon Valley's relationship with Washington. I think there's a real concern that other companies will hesitate to get in bed with the Pentagon if this could be the potential result. And I think also there's a concern, particularly when it comes to some of the discussions around sort of quasi-nationalization of these models. We don't know if the government's going to pursue that, but that was a threat at one point. Companies are likely to go to the mat to defend their models against the U.S. military essentially seizing them or using them for however they see fit. So it is really sort of it's a very serious moment. And I think the relationship between Washington and Silicon Valley is perhaps on the cusp of a major change.
Much more to come. Brendan Bordelon, thank you so much, Brendan.
Thank you.